In today's video, I'm going to show you how to mix in 5.1 surround sound. Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Mastering Post-Production Sound. My name is Joel. I'm a sound re-recording mixer. Been part of the post-production sound industry for the past 16 years, and I'm here to help you navigate the post-production sound industry. Many of us start out not having any experience in mixing for surround. We usually are mixing stereo 2-track mixes, either in a home studio or sometimes in our laptops, and we don't have the opportunity to come and mix in a mixing stage like this. So today I'm going to give you a little behind the scenes and a special shout out to one of my former one-on-one coaching students, Brandon, for allowing me permission to share this behind the scenes video I made for him with you today. We're going to dive into the philosophy, and by the end of the video, you will be able to go from mixing just in stereo and having a great philosophy, mindset about mixing in 5.1. So without further ado, we're going to head into the video. Here we go. So I wanted to jump on here and do a quick video for you specifically about mixing in surround. Okay, I know that your experience is mostly in stereo mixing. So there's a couple things that I want to share with you, specifically 5 different things. And I'll refer to my notes here. So the first one is understanding the 5.1 surround and the setup, specifically like the speakers. The second thing is mix panning and volume automation. The third thing is mixing process in surround sound, like what the process is. Fourth being obviously our hardware, and the fifth we'll talk about just exporting your final mix. Okay, so let's go over our speaker setup, our surround setup. So obviously when you are working in stereo, whether it's headphones or speakers, you have like a pair. I don't know if you could see these two. I have 2 small little speakers right here, right there, little Yamahas. You have a left and a right, and so really you're dealing with an overall sound space that is pretty constrained to just your left and right, or if you're using headphones, what you can hear. Now, can you do some panning in there? Yes, you can manipulate the stereo image to be left heavy or right heavy, or you could take a specific sound, move it across the screen from the right ear to the left ear. So there's not a lot you can, there's not a lot you can do. You can fake it, here or there, but as far as understanding our setup in surround sound, now I'm on the mix stage today. Now, if you could see, so my screen is there. The main difference is your setups, right, as far as your speakers go. So you're going to have, at least up in the front here, you're going to have 3 main speakers. You're going to have your left, your center, and your right. This just happens to be on this stage, this particular setup is a perforated screen, so the monitors are behind the screen, okay? And then it projects the sound. But when I'm sit here and I sit at the console, the main speakers up there, those 1, 2, 3, the dialogue is going to come from the center always. Now, if we go behind us, right, behind us are our surrounds, and I'll briefly show you here, see if you could see. You'll see there are speakers there, and they go all the way around, okay? So on this particular side, that's going to be my left surround speakers, and then the right surround speakers are going to be on the other side, okay? So when I'm mixing here, left, center, right, left surround, right surround, from my vantage point here, okay? From my vantage point here. So, and then, of course, those make up the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? Those are the 5 in the 5.1. The 0.1 obviously being the subwoofer, okay? So the biggest thing to remember when we're mixing with a sound, rather for TV or film, is that our center channel is always going to have our dialogue. You want to run the dialogue down the center, okay? Now, when you're mixing in stereo, you may have a stereo version of dialogue, music, and effects, right? And then it kind of just all comes out the same, so there's not real separation in between everything. Always always, okay, have the dialogue go down the center of your dialogue stem or your mix, okay? There's always the exception to the rule. You know, if the story tells you to, you know, if there's some kind of offstage, real important line that needs to be, you know, heard, then you can pan it to the right or to the left, right? Or even, you know, behind us in the rear. Now, that's the great thing about mixing in surround is it gives us space all around us to put sound. Imagine this. You have a scene, let's say it's a crime scene, and you have on screen, you see a helicopter, and then it pans down, you know, and it's talking to, you know, our main actors are talking. Now you have a really cool moment because what you can do is you could take that helicopter and you can pan it all the way around. So we've covered the speakers, right? This is the speaker setup. To kind of go into like the mixing and the panning and the volume automation. Panning is such a big, important part to mixing surround. When you are mixing in stereo, you're really limited to just the left and right, right? You're hearing everything basically the same, right? It's coming out like this. With mixing in surround, what we want to do is we want to anchor our dialogue to the center. That's going to be the main thing. Anything that's coming off of the screen is going to be there. That's our attention. Then, because we have this environment around us, we want to fill the space appropriately. So when I'm mixing my music, instead of left-right music, you know, like we would do, I now take, and let's see if I can show you real quickly here. I am hooked up here, so I've never done mobile like this, so we'll see. Okay, let's turn this around. Can I turn it around? Yes, I can. Okay, so let's do this real quickly. In my session here, you'll see, let's get the music. Whoops. Okay, we're going to go to, there's dialogue. Let's go to music. Okay, so music right here, okay? Our music right now, I have a bunch of stereo pairs. However, those, and I'll quickly put I have a signal here. So you'll see the signal. So where we're traditionally going out left and right in the stereo, now what I do is I have this go to, oh, where's my music bus? There it is. All right. I have, oh no, that's my verbs. Hang tight. Hang tight. It's over here. Yeah, there it is. Okay. I have it now going to this bus. And because it is set up to go to a 5-1 music out, so we can zoom in. There we go. A music out. What do you see the panning right there? I have it's left a little bit in the center, right, and then touching the surrounds and the LFE. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, and then the 6th channel. So in a 5-1 setting, right, music with my panner here. Let's just show you how I would do that. Let's go back here. Okay, so music. Okay, so on my console, on my music track here, all right, when I bring to attention the panner here, you'll see that right now the music is hard left, right? Or rather left and right. What panning allows us to do is take that signal and now move it in the room. This is our representation, the 5-1 representation panner of our room, right? Right. If I'm standing here, then there's center, there's left, there's right, there's left surround, right surround. Well, if I put my signal of music just to the left and right, I'm only going to hear it in the left and right. However, if I take this signal now and I move this to the back of the room, even just a little bit like this, and I bring it in a little bit towards the center, now I'm getting not only music here and here, but I'm also getting some music back here. And if I really want to get crazy, I could spill it even more back here or throw it all the way back there. Now, I don't want to do that. And I don't recommend that for a score or anything like that. But you know what? We can take that signal, even if it is a music if it's a source music coming off like a little radio, little radio in the scene, and let's say they walk in the back, and now we can put it back there. We can put it back there. And so how I would do that was I would move it back here. But basically for music, I want to have a good spread. And usually you can do that with using an up mixer, something like Halo. Or in this instance, this is old school because my partner taught me this. I created that within my busing. And so you'll see here, my hard left and right, here, let's go like this. My hard left and right music, okay, is now spread across because of, let's go over here, right here, this thing right here. I have a manufactured music left surround, right surround, and you see the panning right there. See how it's manufactured, and then a subwoofer information, LFE. So that's old school, but again, using something like Halo Upmix takes your stereo and actually creates a 5-1, and you'll see, that's the signal. And then over here on the other recorder, now again, mind you, I'm in a situation here where on the left side is just the dialogue and music and ADR group. Over here is effects. These are two separate computers, two separate Pro Tools systems. Those respectfully feed this middle computer with its own separate Pro Tools, and you'll see it's got stems. And here is a 5-1 print master, a 5-0 dialogue, a 5-0 group, a 5-1 music stem, a 5-1 effect stem, a 5-1 BG stem, a 5-1 Foley, and then a 2-track, okay? So right now, I'm sending signal through the music, and look where is it coming up on this stem recorder? It's coming up on the music stem. But then that is fed also to the print master, the 5-1 print master, and we'll talk about that in a second. Let's see. I want to go back to me. There we go. Okay, so sorry about all the movement and stuff like that. Again, I've never done a video like this, so this is kind of cool. It's actually kind of cool. It feels like you're in the studio with me. So again, what we do is we use the space. So when we sit there and we manipulate all the sounds, we get the right levels, okay? We like where the music is. We're automating as we go. We have the dialogue. We're dipping for, any important parts, like maybe the music, it's like, what takes the lead? Does the music take the lead? Does the dialogue take the lead? Does the sound effects take the lead? We're doing all we can do. We're laying down the automation. The big part is using then the space, using the panner to say, we ask ourselves, what are we trying to create here, right? In the situation where you would maybe have a scene, let's say you're outside in the forest. Well, you might have some really lush and beautiful backgrounds that are cut. Wind through trees, birds, insects, all this stuff. And our main characters are walking through the forest. What an opportunity to use all this space back here. Now we want to feel like, gosh, we're right there in the environment. And so in order to do that, that's what we use. We use our panning and our automation to get the sound in the right environment. So how do we get better at doing that? We got to do a lot of it. We got to experiment to see what really works. But you could take sounds and just pinpoint them back there. Like maybe you're going through the forest and you need a twig snap so that the main character's turning or something. Well, I want to take that and I'm going to pan it all the way in the rear so that if I'm sitting in a theater, I hear it behind me. Well, this is in front of me from this recording, but if I'm sitting here, it's back there, right? And so I pan it and I tell it to go there. So, of course, another thing that we use reverbs to kind of create the sound. So if we have a sound that is on screen, but we're outside, I put a reverb on there with, a 5.0 setting or a setting where I can, have some slap on there. Now that single snap or, sound effect doesn't just sound like it's dry or just recorded. It's got space. I could create space as if we were outside. And I use my reverbs. I have an interior reverb. I have an exterior reverb. I have a big 5.0 reverb. On the film that we're finishing up, next week, I use Altiverb, and I love, it's more like cinematic reverbs. But using the combination of the panning, the volume automation, and the space, just both of those. That's how we create the environments. Okay. Now, to talk a little bit about the mixing process in surround, obviously we're balancing, right? We're balancing a bunch of stuff. We're EQing. We're using reverb when we need to use it, and we're thinking about how we can use our verbs to create space. Like I said, I'll, if I'm outside, I'll use a particular sounding reverb. I remember is seeing we're like on a cliff, and it's big, and so I use a reverb that has a really big canyon space, and so now with that setting, it sends information into the surrounds so that when we're sitting in the theater, we're sitting in the mix stage, it sounds like we're outside. It sounds like we're in a canyon. And then just to talk really quickly about your workspace, obviously you're using Pro Tools, but in order to kind of make that happen, you'd need to have a setup. Obviously you need to have 5 speakers and a subwoofer, and then you're going to need some hardware. Like Focusrite has I think it's an 18i, what is it called? 18i20? Let's see. I'm going to do this right here on Focusrite Scarlett 18i20. Yeah. And that has enough outputs so that you can hook that up to monitors, right? And so you obviously need the right equipment to do that. That can get costly. That can get really costly. But, if you have the money to do that, it's a great way. It's a great thing to do, and then you'll need what else? I'm trying to think any other kind of equipment. I'm obviously here on this mix stage, we have lots of money worth of equipment. We have mixing consoles, we have projectors, they spent a lot of money. Actually, I don't know how much they put into this room, but it's one of the small rooms. But that being said, when it comes down to finally, mixing is mixing, right? It's just a format. You're just putting it in a different format. And if you keep the dialogue in the center, and you take that music and you use an up mixer like Halo, or you do it like old school like I did, where my partner did rather, and he crafted, surrounds, because literally with the music, if you have it just left and right playing, it's created the surrounds. So it's done it manually, right? You create space there, get your backgrounds, in the right area, put some up there. I always have put some up there, put some in the middle. I always put, that's another thing I didn't go over real quickly, but backgrounds, I always put, and this is why I told you layers, right? Layers, because you want to be able to cover some of that production. Mono winds, mono room tone, stereo room tone that's then pulled back in the room, similar to what I showed you here. We'll go back to here, like for backgrounds, and this is not the background track, but if this was backgrounds, we'll have maybe a track that's left and right, and then another track that's all the way just in the rear, and then a track that's maybe a backgrounds that is like kind of right here in the middle, like room tones. I like to stick right there, and then let's go with I don't have a mono track there, but then a mono, if it was a mono one, then just in the center there, right? Pretending this is not here right now, just there. But backgrounds, it's not working. I got my fingers not working there. Backgrounds are all about creating an environment, okay? And I'm sorry this noisy. It's gonna be noisy here because I'm sure it's on a tripod, and so it's there we go. Okay, so that being said, when everything comes to the end and you're ready to create your stems or do your output, the best way to do something like that is to create buses and then create record tracks where you have a master 5.1 track. Then you have it broken down. So your dialogue goes to a dialogue, bus to then goes to like a dialogue record internally. So you're only sending signal from your dialogue, then your music, and then for the effects, like your hard effects, your backgrounds. You may not have all that space internally, you know, but that's what I would do. I would create all those stems, and those stems, you know, the effects stems, the background stem, the Foley stem, the dialogue stem, the music stem, if there's ADR group, and then those would feed that 5.1, and that 5.1 is where you then would print, you know, you would print it down. It would be, you know, combining all those elements, and that's your 5.1 print master. And then you can create like a, you know, you can create that, a sub, you know, a 2-channel stereo version of that by what I'm trying to say, by creating another stem through routing. So that's kind of the basics of it. You know, a lot of it is trial and error. You only get better by doing it a lot. So I would recommend, you know, you can watch some videos online, but really I just recommend doing it a lot. You know, I don't know that you're set up like that, but I know that you had some questions about mixing in 5.1. So I hope it's been helpful. And if you have any other follow-up questions, by all means, let me know. All right, friends, that's all I have this week for Mastering Post-Production Sound. If you are new here, I just want to say thank you, first of all, for being, and because you are new, I have a free gift for you. My 5 core principles that I believe every post-production sound professional should master. Just head on over to masteringpostproductionsound.com/insider's guide to grab your free gift. Just to say thank you for even being here. Please consider subscribing to the channel and make sure you leave a comment and share this video with people who you maybe need it. Maybe you have a friend who might find this helpful. Share it with them. All right, friends, thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next video.